Thank you. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Before we move through the agenda, I want to mention and remind everyone about our rules of decorum, which are in place to ensure our meetings move along well and to help everyone feel comfortable sharing their comments. A copy of the full rules of decorum are available at the door, and our staff will post the link in Zoom. So that brings us to item number 4, which is approving the work session meeting minutes of September 19th, October 3rd, and October 10th, and the formal meeting minutes of October 3rd.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Puya, a second from Councilmember Valdemoros. Is there any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes with 5-0, with council members Petro and Wharton having.
I'm here and I voted.
Did you vote yes?
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0. Hi, Councilmember Petro. Sorry, the new
Hi.
setup, we don't actually see your face, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here. Let's see, item number 5, agenda item number 5 is a joint resolution with Mayor Mendenhall recognizing December 1st as World AIDS Day in Salt Lake City. I will turn the time over to Councilmember Ana Valdemoros to read the resolution.
Great. Thank you. Joint resolution declaring World AIDS Day 2023 in Salt Lake City. Whereas, according to estimates from the Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, there are now more than 39 million people throughout the world living with human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. Of these, 51% are women and girls, 1.5 million are children, 1.3 million new infections occurred among adults and children in 2023 alone. And whereas in Utah, HIV incidence has not seen a significant decrease in new HIV infections when other metropolitan areas have. And whereas in Utah, the rate of new HIV diagnosis with stage 3 infections has not decreased in the last 5 years. And whereas up to 85% of people living with HIV in Utah reside along the Wasatch Front. And whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has found that HIV-related stigma has a significant negative impact on people living with HIV, increases new infections, and delays people seeking testing for HIV. And whereas stigma, shame, and fear make people less likely to discuss their sexual health with doctors and often lead to delays in seeking testing or treatment for sexually transmitted infections and HIV, which can have serious long-term health consequences. And whereas people with HIV who take HIV medicine as prescribed maintain and keep an undetectable viral load, can live long and healthy lives and will not transmit HIV to an HIV-negative partner. And whereas pre-exposure prophylaxis, a daily regimen of 2 oral antiretroviral drugs in a single pill, has proven to be highly effective in preventing HIV infection for individuals at risk, reducing the risk of acquiring HIV from sex by about 99%. And whereas Salt Lake City supports the efforts of the Utah AIDS Foundation in its mission to provide support to people living with HIV/AIDS and prevention services for those at risk for HIV. Salt Lake City also supports the important work of the Salt Lake County Health Department's Sexually Transmitted Diseases Clinic, which provides testing for HIV at no cost. And whereas the elimination of stigma in Utah will lead to better physical and mental health outcomes for people living with HIV, increased HIV disclosure, increased HIV testing, and decreased HIV infections. And whereas World AIDS Day was established in 1998 and is observed every year on December 1st to provide an opportunity for individuals and communities to take action and help educate for HIV/AIDS prevention, treatment, and care. And whereas Salt Lake City has joined other cities around the world in an effort to increase awareness, reduce stigma, provide education about HIV/AIDS, and demonstrate compassion for those affected by HIV. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City hereby recognize December 1st, 2023 as World AIDS Day in Salt Lake City and encourage all residents to unite together in the fight against HIV/AIDS, reduce the stigma of HIV/AIDS, and support those who are living with or have been affected by HIV/AIDS. Be it further resolved, Salt Lake City urges the FDA to rescind its recommendations that blood donation centers turn away donors in the LGBTQ community based solely on sexual history, since according to the CDC, all blood for transfusion is tested for evidence of certain infectious disease pathogens such as HIV.
Thank you, Councilmember Valdemoros. I'll look for a motion.
I move for approval or move for adoption.
Second.
A motion from Councilmember Dugan, a second from Councilmember Wharton. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously with all 7 council members voting. Let's see. I would like to welcome Jared Hafen, Chief Programming Officer with Utah AIDS Foundation here. Are you here with us today? Is Jared here? I guess not. Thank you for allowing us to read that resolution. Is there anyone representing the AIDS Foundation or any related organizations?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I don't see the partners from the AIDS Foundation, and I know they have a new name now, but I have learned and interacted with this organization that is key to our state well-being, and their history speaks for itself. So I want to commend their work, not only on this day, but every day that someone walks into their clinic, either to get tested or to actually grab food or get support in some kind. So I just want to mention that. I wish they were here today, but I want to thank them for their work.
Are you here with the AIDS Foundation? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is Jason Wheeler with Assist Community Design Center. We're an architecture office that's helping the AIDS Foundation right now with a significant remodel to their space. So they are actually going through a name change from the Utah AIDS Foundation to UAF Legacy Health, with an increased emphasis on providing health care for individuals who are in this kind of a situation, and to provide loving and caring and unjudgmental health care to all individuals. And part of that has involved a substantial remodel of their office space on 10th East to include a health clinic with full-time doctors and health practitioners that can provide health services to individuals in the LGBTQ community in meaningful ways. And it's remarkable to see what they're already doing. That project will be complete by the end of December and will allow them to provide full healthcare services to this community moving forward.
All right, thank you. Well, please pass our congratulations for that work on to them. All right, this brings us to our council public hearings. If you would like to comment on a public hearing today, we are accepting comments in person and online via Zoom. If you need to speak with our staff, please select Achintia Mahajun from the list of participants. If you need to, you can also raise your hand in Zoom to indicate that you need something from the host. Taylor Hill, another staff member, will be calling the names of those who wish to comment based on when we received those names. And if you're on Zoom, please unmute your mic when Taylor calls your name. So our first public hearing is item B1, which is an ordinance related to subdivision code amendments. Before taking comments, I will turn the time over to Brian Fulmer, Council Staff Policy Analyst, to give a short introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a proposal to update the city subdivision code. The changes are intended to streamline processes and would bring the city into uniformity with state code changes and include the following. It reorganizes city code into a more logical order, updates application requirements. There's some minor modifications of design standards to align with city goals and plans. There are changes or eliminating outdated standards, and it also clarifies existing regulations.
Thank you, Brian. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do not have anyone registered for this item.
Mr. Chair,
Councilor Puig.
I move that the council close the public hearing and defer action to a future council meeting.
Second.
Motion from Councilor Puig, second from Councilmember Dugan. Is there any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed, nay. That passes unanimously. We are on item B2, which is another public hearing, this time for 2023 through 2024 U.S. Housing and Urban Development Community Grant Development Needs Annual Public Hearing.
The U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department, or HUD, provides several $1 million a year to the city across 4 grant programs. HUD requires the city to hold 2 public hearings each year. Historically, the first hearing is held in the fall by a resident advisory board, while the second hearing is held in the spring by the city council. This year, both the fall and the spring hearings are being held by the city council. This change is intended to be a more consistent process and hopefully encourage greater numbers of public comments. The council today may continue or close the public hearing on general needs. There are no specific funding awards to vote on. The second public hearing will be in the spring after the advisory board and the mayor suggest funding recommendations, and the council would hold that public hearing before making the final awards. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 9 people registered to speak to this item. The first will be Rebecca Dudston, followed by Amanda Hughes, and then Abdi Will Hersey. Rebecca is here in person.
Thank you, Chair and Council members, for the opportunity to speak on needs in the Salt Lake City community. My name is Rebecca Dudston. I'm President and CEO of the Children's Center Utah. We are a mental health treatment organization for young children and families, and we also provide training and education for mental health providers. I am a resident of Mill Creek, and our organization is located in West Valley City. However, for example, in one of the programs that we serve, 49% of the children are Salt Lake City residents and their families. So just to kind of put that in context. Mental health is real, not only for adults and youth, but for young children, beginning at the very earliest days. We treat children ages birth through 6 and their families and caregivers. And I would like to share some statistics about current needs in our state. National estimates show that 11 to 23% of Utah children between the ages of 3 and 11 experience mental, emotional, developmental, or behavioral challenges. The mental health of children is influenced by many factors, with research demonstrating a strong link between the mental health of children and their parents and caregivers. Rates of adults with a mental health condition are higher in Utah than in most other U.S. states and the national average. Additionally, the rates of Utah parents reporting difficulty coping with the demands of raising children or experiencing poor mental health are among the highest in the nation. In Utah, nearly 68% of adults have experienced one or more adverse childhood experiences, which is higher than most other states and the U.S. average, which is 64%. The second most common ACE experienced by Utah adults is living in a household with someone with a mental illness, and that's 30%.
Time.
May I have time to just close?
Sorry, we have to keep our comments limited to 2 minutes, but you can definitely submit the remainder of your comments by email.
Thank you very much.
And we will all receive that. Thank you.
Next will be Amanda Hughes, followed by Abdi Whale Hersey, and then Hassan Faye. Amanda is here in person.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to address the council regarding Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Salt Lake's application for CDBG public services funding to support community resilience and mental health for youth. My name is Amanda, and I'm the president and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Salt Lake. Our application for funding will support Specifically, our locations in our Glendale, Poplar Grove, and West Side, Fair Park, and Rose Park communities are Eccles Club and Lead Club, respectively. These programs and services will allow us to address the two greatest barriers for mental health for youth. That's affordability and accessibility. Our programs are basically free to any kid who comes into our clubs because we only charge a $20 membership fee, and that is often waived when that is a burden on families. These programs funded by CDBG will allow us to provide mental health support and well-being and social-emotional development classes within our club walls where kids already congregate in a safe and positive environment with positive with positive adult role models who become like family to them. They're already in encouraging, safe, wraparound supportive services in after-school and summertime programs. We will bring, with this funding, licensed mental health therapists to run 10-week courses from ages 6 to 18 in age-appropriate groups, as well as be able to refer for additional counseling one-on-one with a therapist in our clubs at no additional cost passed on to the families. We believe that these programs are vital in the community resiliency for COVID recovery. We know our kids are in crisis and mental health and well-being is on the decline. Pervasive traumatic stress exposure is now replacing post-traumatic stress disorder. This prolonged experience of trauma and stress and community violence is exacerbated by COVID, and we believe these programs address those directly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Abdi Will Hersey, followed by Hassan Faye, and then Abdirzak Ibrahim. Abdi is here in person.
My name is Abdi Will Hersey. I'm ka hadlayaa guryahan ka hadlayaa marka saa darteed waxaan
My name is Abdi Will Hersey. I'm just want to speak on behalf of basic. We need like
Could you speak closer to the microphone?
We need basic more low-income housing. So we have more crisis on low-income housing. So that's why he's speaking of, Okay.
marka saa darteed aan soo istaagay inaan ka
So that's the reason he's standing, over here.
ka hadlo arrintaas dadkan ay ka caawinayso dad badan ay u baahan yihiin muhiimna ay tahay.
So that's the reason why he's standing here. That he want to speak behalf of, housing crisis and everybody having difficulty renting and too much crisis.
marka muhiim waaye marka inaan taas ka hadlaan soo istaago.
This is an opportunity for us to speak, housing,
dad badan ay caawinaysaa nolosha waa iska saas u baahan tahay.
A lot of people helping this housing.
You can speak into that mic.
macnaha muhiim in aad u tahay.
This is very important for us,
qof walbana aad bay u caawinaysaa.
and this for everybody can get benefit. Okay.
marka saa darteed aan soo istaagay inaan ka hadlo.
That's the reason why I'm standing over here. And then say thank you. That's the only question I have right now. So say thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next will be Hassan Faye, followed by Abdirzak Ibrahim, and then Jason Wheeler. Hassan is here in person.
Yeah, name Hassan Gaspaye from Somali. This one the housing.
He's saying that my name is Hassan Gas. I'm from Somalia. He just standing the reason why he's standing for the same issues with my other fellow housing. We need like more housing basis, low income housing so people can rent it and can live.
As you're the interpreter, can I have you step right here?
Yes.
And if you'll use this microphone,
Okay.
step right here.
And staff, can you hold the timer?
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Could the guest come here to the
Yeah, could you, how about you sit at the table here because there's multiple microphones?
And can we
And can we reset the timer,
Yes.
please?
Okay. هذا حق فري سال. No, no. He's saying that we need low-income housing to build it so they can live,
waayo kumbaniyadu waxay ka dhigeen overprice bay saareen waa qaali marka guryaha sidaasaan doonayna
all the companies they're raising, the rent is too expensive for because of their low incomes. It's too much.
marka sidaasaan doonayna
So that's the reason he came over here.
sidaasaan dacodsanayna waa
That's he came to requesting. The reason why he came here, he wanted requesting what he came to over here today.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Okay, Taylor, can you introduce our next commenter?
Next is Abdirzak Ibrahim, followed by Jason Wheeler, and then Robert Morial. Abdirzak is here in person.
My name is Abdirzak Ibrahim. I run a non-profit organization. It's called Somali Community Self-Management Agency. I work on the west side of Salt Lake City. So, I've been here most of my life. I came here as 1998 basic. I've been hearing, the same issues with my fellow Hassan did it. So last 15 years, I've been hearing, from this city council, like last 15 years, they've been saying that we are working to build like more housing, low income, more housing. Nothing happened since I know. I know this brother. So I don't know, but so kind of like sometimes there's too many frustrations. For example, I'm gonna give you some example. There is somebody who's staying in my house right now. She's an old lady. She's 63 years old. She's disabled. I grabbed from the street like 1 a.m. in the morning. And now she's staying in my house. And then she does have a space to live. And then, I don't know, if I have money, I should buy a house and then she can live it. And then every door we knock, there is a gap. They're saying that we need to do this, we need to do that. There's nothing happening. It's last 15 years, brother. Imagine. Last 15 years. Nothing we saw. They're saying we do this, we do that, but there's nothing happened. So we're still the same problem, we're still the same issues we're still facing. So unless I come, maybe mayor or one of you guys, maybe I will change the things to reality. That's what I want to say that. But we need to act it really honest and reliable and people. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Next will be Jason Wheeler, followed by Robert Morel, and then Jacob Abra. Jason is here in person.
Yes, Jason Wheeler, Executive Director with Assist Community Design Center. I want to talk just a little bit about senior housing in our community today. And our organization has been doing work in Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County since 1969, and much of our work focuses on helping low-income families and seniors and people with disabilities stay in their homes. As was spoken to previously about the kind of affordable housing crisis that's here in our community right now, we see this impacting people disproportionately who are on fixed incomes, especially with the rate of inflation that we've seen recently. This has become a very severe crisis for many of our seniors. Just to give you a couple of ideas of what the landscape looks like for seniors, in Utah, when we look at our labor force and those that are over the age of 65, 21% of individuals over the age of 65 are still in the labor force in Utah compared to 17% nationally. So almost 25% more of our seniors are still working, trying to make ends meet. We look at homelessness. In 2011, there were 763 homeless seniors that were accounted for in Utah's information management system. And in 2019, that number had almost tripled to nearly 2,200 seniors. And this will be exacerbated even more as we see subsidies of existing affordable housing units expire. And Many seniors actually live in homes that they own, and one of the most critical things that we can do to help support these seniors is help them remain in their homes so that they aren't forced into an already overburdened rental housing market. And what our program does is provide emergency home repairs, including replacing or repairing leaking roofs and plumbing systems, electrical systems, and doing accessibility retrofits that include ramps and bathrooms to help these individuals remain in their homes. We're grateful for the support of Salt Lake City in our programs in past years and hope to continue to do this moving forward.
Next will be Robert Morial, followed by Jacob Abra, and then Ahmed Isak. Robert is here in person.
Hi, I'm actually with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Salt Lake. My CEO is here as well, and we've been applying for the CBDG grant. And I just want to say that, our program is really great. One of the things that a lot of after-school programs are struggling with is retaining staff and having adequate staff trained. And I feel like our CEO and our organization has been really on top of that, and we've been growing. Our facilities they have capacities to take on more people. And I just think, we've been operating a lot on those COVID relief funds, and those are about to go out. And my biggest concern is just, we're worried about, losing the momentum that we've had, that a lot of, after-school programs have been struggling to maintain with. And I'm just worried that, if we lose that stuff, we might actually lose some staff and some of those trainings, and we might fall behind like some of those after-school programs. I know one of our biggest initiatives, that's been echoed here tonight is, getting mental health services more supported in our programs, and we've been really on top of that. And I just, I myself am a product of those programs. I had a single mother and a disabled sister that kind of took away. I was experiencing a lot of sort of circumstantial neglect, and I was able to go to college. I had a scoutmaster help me apply for college. And I just think, if we lose some of our membership, we're going to lose opportunities for other kids like that in that situation. So I just want to put in my encouragement to please support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Thank you.
Next is Jacob Arba, followed by Ahmed Isak. Jacob is here in person.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yaqub Arbab. I am from Sudan, actually from West Darfur. There genocide, what's going on. I hope everyone, U.S. government take attention what's going on in Sudan. About the housing, I moved it in United States since 2016. Last 4 years, the rent is low, and that is what's easy for us to rent, and we can. But now the rent is increased, and we have a lot of families that are suffering. But our community, our goal is we need to have own houses, not rent or anything. But it's difficult, very difficult to us. We need from the city, or city council or government can do more fun and more easy. Everyone can apply, get the houses and then pay the rent. That's what we need. If the rent, we have children, we have families. They need the houses. They need more bedrooms. Someone has 7 kids and living in 2-bedroom. That is difficult for us. But we need the city can help us. We get 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. At least that's everyone, 90% of community get it. And next, everyone can come. We can help them. Thank you so much.
Next is Ahmed Isak, who's here in person.
Members of the City Council, everybody, hello. My name is Ahmed Isaac. I'm one of the Sudanese community representative here in Salt Lake County. As you can see, most of my colleagues, we have language barriers. We have a hard time passing our language or giving the information that are really what we wanted to say. Basically, I live in the refugee camp for 10 years, or more than 10 years. I never thought that I'm gonna come in the United States, especially state of Utah, and I have a hard time paying for my rent. I never thought that would happen. I do have 2 kids. I'm representing more than 300 people as a basis based on the refugee community. And like 2 days ago, I have 3 people that went homeless. And when we talk about housing here, I mean, it seems like most of, every year, I think the same story, same thing. It seems like a great thing or great things going on, but it's not. It's a crisis. I live in the refugee camp for 10 years. I don't want to be homeless here in the state of Utah. I don't think that makes sense. Coming to the United States of America, that's the dream that came true. And I want to be homeless with my kids or my community members. That doesn't make sense. I think we need to do better than that. We need to put in more money, make sure that people that are vulnerable, getting housing, getting assistance, making sure they can get rent. I mean, this is, I absolutely seen that my community members that live in the refugee camp is more than homeless. And coming to the state of Utah and to be homeless, we need to do better.
Thank you for your comment.
That was the final registered commenter.
Is there anyone here in the audience that wants to speak to this item? All right, seeing none, I'll look for a motion. Oh,
Mr. Chair.
Please come to the... Sorry, I didn't see you raise your hand. Yeah, please come up to the microphone and state your name for the record.
Hi, my friend. أولاً نحمد إنه الحمد لله عشان نطرح حضورنا جينا هنا. بارك الله فيكم أنتوا وكوميتي لينا.
Say thank you guys for having us here.
Could you speak a little, very close?
Thank you guys for having here to speak our problem we have here, and as with the community, and that's what he's saying here.
Sorry, could you state a name for the record?
He says his name is Ibrahim. He's my dad.
My name is Ibrahim.
Thank you.
From Eritrea. Sorry. أولاً نحن كل مرة نتكلم مع اللجنة مع كوميونيتي نقول له يا أخي نضرب الباب بتاعه نقول لهم أنت ما تتكلم مع حكومة ما قاعد تساعد في البيوت ولا كده ما يتكلم ليه نقول نشتكي على اللجنة وحسا حبينا نطرح موضوعنا. احنا عندنا بيوت في كل مكان لأنه البيوت غالية والدخل بسيط وعندنا الأولاد في المدارس في الثانوية في الجامعة وأشكالياتنا صعبة.
He's saying that I always talk to my problem with his brother Abdurazak with the community, and he say thank you guys for having here to talk in basically with you guys in front. And so I have a kid that going to school, high school and college, and then plus the rent is not enough. So he's saying.
البيوت غالية والكهرباء وما قدرنا ندفع ما في استطاع دخلنا بسيط ونحن دارين مساعدة الدعم بقدر الإمكان في البيوت وفي الكهرباء.
The income, the one I work, is not enough, and the rent is very expensive, and hopefully we get some benefit from you guys.
بكثرة ما عندنا هناك يعني قبل كده ساعدتوا معانا فترة بسيطة بواسطة لجنة إدارتنا كنا لقينا نفس حاسة برضو الرجاء الحكومة تنظر علينا على البيوت والكهرباء. قبل أول السنة كانت ساعدتوا معانا فترة بسيطة وكنا لقينا نفس شوية وحسي الرجاء بقدر الإمكان لا تساعدوا معانا بقدر الامكان يعني في البيوت وفي الكهرباء نفس الوقت.
Said we had a benefit a year ago about the rent in electric, and that was really helped us. It was really good. And then he said, hopefully we get the same thing as last year. Will be helped us because he don't have income that paying his rent and his food.
وشكرا هذا كلامنا أكثر من ده ما عندنا ونحن شكوتنا على اللجنة وشكرا.
And that's all. Thank you for having us for this evening.
All right. Is that our final comment? Yeah, go ahead. And please state your name for the record.
My name is Al Khalifa Kalishnikov. And I just wanted to close by saying thank you, City Council, for having us to come and speak on the housing, U.S. housing, urban development. I am a representative in the refugee community. I have a nonprofit called the SLC Area Anti-Discrimination in U.S., not the U.S., I'm sorry, let me slow down, called the SLC Area Anti-Discrimination Task Force. We help with anti-discrimination efforts against the immigration and refugee communities and helping to uplift them. And so housing is very critical. The lack of housing in Salt Lake City is horrendous, and it's just impacting so many lives, if you've seen. And so I ask that you take this up and the feedback that you've heard and just really consider what you've heard and vote to approve this grant funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Now I think I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Dugan, second from Councilmember Pui. Any discussion of this motion?
I do. Just very quickly, this is the crisis that we see in the streets is very real, and it's very real to our neighbors about the price of rent and private landowners and the lack of housing in general that increases the prices. I was just reminded, I was asking about what funds we had still for rent assistance. And we allocated what is left from the rent assistance programs that we had to the Salt Lake City Housing Authority in our last budget amendment. So there is still potentially some money there through the Salt Lake City Housing Authority for rent assistance. So please go to the Salt Lake City Housing Authority, if and they can guide you through some rent assistance. And I want to remind, it was useful for me to remember what we did on this, and there is still some funds there potentially to apply. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Pui. Any other discussion to this motion?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who came and spoke related to this effort. I think one of the things that can be challenging is when you're discussing policy, you're really looking at, sometimes these intangible components. So for everyone who was willing to come and share their personal story, it really does make a difference in terms of helping to make sure that we're not just looking at it through the system, but through the individual lives of Salt Lake residents. And I'm grateful for that expertise that I gained tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Young. I agree with both of those comments. Appreciate everyone who spoke to this item. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Councilmember Peacher, are you with us still?
Yep, and I.
All right, that is 7-0. And that motion passes. So I have lost my place. Hold on a second. We are now on section C of our agenda. Section C is potential action items. And the first item is C1, a rezone and master plan amendment at 116 East Edith Avenue. I will look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt the ordinance.
I have a motion from Councilmember Pui, a second from Councilmember Wharton. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. Item number C2 is a rezone and master plan amendment at approximately 1720 South and 1734 South West Temple. I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Pui, a second from Councilmember Valdemoros. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay.
Nay.
Is that Councilmember Wharton?
Yeah.
Okay, so that, Councilmember Petro, did we get your vote on that?
I was in the affirmative.
Okay, that's passes 6-1 with Councilmember Wharton voting no. Item number C3 is an ordinance regarding the Historic Preservation Overlay District text amendment. I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Wharton, second from Councilmember Pui. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes 7-0. C4 is an alley vacation at approximately 1518 South, 300 West. I will look for a motion.
Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Pui.
I move that the council adopt the ordinance vacating the subject alley with the conditions that the petitioner shall, number 1, within 60 days of the effective date of the ordinance, execute an easement for a public accessible mid-block walkway to meet requirements in city ordinance through the block between Andrew Avenue and Van Buren Avenue, where buildings constructed by petitioner are located on each side of the walkway. The walkway shall be open to the public at all times. 2, within 60 days of the effective date of the ordinance, execute an easement for public accessible private drive connecting Andrew Avenue and Van Buren Avenue mid-walk through a parking garage or other similar location on the petitioner's property. This drive shall be open to the public 7 days a week, at least between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m., and shall include signage noting such hours of public use. The drive shall remain open to the public until further public road connecting Andrew Avenue and Van Buren Avenue between 300 West and I-15 is constructed. 3, refrain from conveying the property adjacent to the alley until the aforementioned easements are recorded with the Salt Lake County Recorder. It is also the council's understanding that the plans for 60% or more of street level activation be memorialized in the planned development and design review process that petitioner is currently undergoing before the Planning Commission.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Pui, a second from Councilmember Dugan. Is there any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. Okay, item C5 is an ordinance related to the North Point Small Area Plan.
Chair, I move that the council adopt the ordinance approving the North Point Small Area Plan. I further move that the council initiate a legislative action requesting the administration draft new zoning regulations that will implement the vision, goals, and policies outlined in the North Point Small Area Plan. I further move the council initiate a legislative action requesting the administration continue the city-led effort to complete the annexation process for unincorporated properties in the area generally identified by the North Point Small Area Plan.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Petro and a second from Councilmember Pui. Is there any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. We are now on section D of the agenda. Section D is a comment section. First are questions to the mayor from the city council. Rachel Otto is here, mayor's chief of staff, on behalf of Mayor Mendenhall, thank you for being here. Rachel, are there any questions from the council? All right. Thank you so much for attending our meeting. Next are comments to City Council, and this is our general comment period, which is a chance for the public to speak to the City Council on anything related to our work, but not related to an agenda topic that we have already had a public hearing on. As a reminder, those joining in Zoom, please select Achintia Mahajun from our staff, who will moderate the Zoom and message you with any questions about your registration. Staff is handling many tasks, so limit messages to technical issues and minimal informational updates. However, if you do need to speak with the staff, please select Scott Corpany from the list of participants, or you can raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. Taylor Hill on our staff will be calling those who wish to comment based on order of registration or receive comment cards. If you are in Zoom, please unmute your mic when Taylor calls your name. At the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please send the rest via email, mail, or call our office. And as a reminder, all of our rules of decorum that we mentioned earlier apply here as well. Taylor, please begin with our first comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 7 people registered for general comment. The first will be Casey O'Connor, followed by Whitney Reed, and then Eric Orm. Casey, you may now unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted, I hope. Yeah, okay. My comment is about all this homeless stuff. They keep calling it homeless, and they refuse to differentiate between homeless people, legitimate homeless, drug addicts, insane asylum people, deadbeats, parasites to society, and whatnot. Then I saw a couple of days ago where they have these foldable shelters, and they're going to cost $25,000 a piece, and they're going to put them on land, and there's no facilities talking about any sewer systems, electric, or anything like that. So I'm just saying, who's going to pay for all this? It's a snowball effect. The way they're treating the whole issue is they refuse to differentiate, and you're rewarding bad behavior because you're lumping them all together. And if somebody wants to get on their feet, there's no reason not to. There's charity missions and everything else out there. It's just throwing good money after bad, and to me, it's just virtue signaling. Look what I'm doing for the homeless. That's my comment. Thank you.
And next will be Whitney Reed, followed by Eric Orm, and then Elizabeth Crittenden. Whitney, you may now unmute.
Thank you for having me. I am a resident of Sugar House and have been for the last 12 years, and am greatly impacted by the 2100 South construction and 1100 East construction. I have a physical disability and do not drive, and so I take public transit to school and work, both at the U. For the last little bit, the Route 21 has not been operating within walking distance of my house. And in order to get to Route 213 that also goes to the U, I have to jaywalk across 13th East. And I'm wondering if there's any plan for more crosswalks being installed or anything within 13th East with signage or those flashing yellow buttons in order for us to be able to walk across the street safely while the crosswalks and everything are dug up during the Sugar House construction. So I wanted to know if there's any type of plan that will be released, or what's the plan for that? And then also, what is the plan for the public transit options during the 2024 phase of the Sugar House construction 2100 South Sewer Project? Thank you for listening, and thank you for having me.
And next will be Eric Orm, followed by Elizabeth Crittenden, and then Soren Simonson. Eric, you may now unmute.
Hi, thank you for allowing us to be part of your meeting. My name is Eric Orm. I am a property owner in the unincorporated part of the Salt Lake County in the North Point area. I would like to speak to what was discussed in previous work sessions regarding a city-led annexation in the area. It was presented and is a misconception that unincorporated property owners support a Salt Lake City-led annexation, bringing in these unincorporated properties to a more restrictive agricultural zoning. Not only is Salt Lake City's agricultural zoning more restrictive on permitted uses than the counties, the density allowed in the city's least restrictive agricultural zone, which is Ag 2, which I believe is the one that Salt Lake City is proposing, only allows for 1 dwelling unit for every 2 acres, while the current county agricultural zones in the area allow for density of 2 to 8 dwelling units for every 2 acres. Salt Lake City's forced annexation with agricultural zoning would immediately cut our density by at least half. This is, by definition, a regulatory taking of property. I would urge City Council to work on completing the new light industrial zone or overlay for the North Point area and allow property owners to submit their own annexation applications rather than a city-led forced annexation to a more restrictive Salt Lake City agricultural zone. If the airport land is a priority for annexation, I would urge City Council to break that land out for annexation, as you had discussed in your work sessions, and allow the rest of the property owners to initiate their own annexations. Thank you again.
Next will be Elizabeth Critton. Elizabeth is here in person.
Hello, I'm speaking on the construction around Salt Lake City and how it impacts those of our community members with physical disabilities. And I want to emphasize that Salt Lake City does need more affordable housing and to repair their infrastructure, but I think we should think more about how these projects do impact our community members with physical disabilities. I'm sure we can all think of sidewalks around town that are blocked off or that are just majorly impacted by the current projects. And I'm just wondering, while these inconveniences are temporary, they can last months. I'm wondering what sort of things the city is planning to do to address these as we ramp up more of these construction projects in the future, and how they can better accommodate these community members when planning these construction projects. And yeah, thank you.
And next will be Soren's. Soren's here in person.
Good evening. I know you often have me here in different capacities. I'm just here as a small business owner this evening. Many of you know I was the founder of Utah's first co-working space, Impact Hub Salt Lake. I missed the work session earlier today when you were discussing the ARPA funding, the Small Business Recovery Program for those businesses deeply affected by the COVID-19 impact. As one of those businesses that was deeply affected by that, with revenue losses of over 75% during the roughly 21, 22 months that I was a significant part of that, the only operator of Impact Hub. It's naturally disappointing to not be able to take advantage of those federal dollars for the purposes that they were intended to support businesses like mine that were deeply affected. I no longer operate Impact Hub, although it's still a registered business in Salt Lake City out of my home. The operation of the co-working space was transferred to new ownership. However, I retain all of the liability during the period of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's very substantial, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would, the letter that I just handed to you was a letter that was submitted to the Economic Development Department back in January of 2022, roughly 2 years ago, with a request to revisit the loan terms of the remaining balance of about $30,000 to $35,000 from a $100,000 loan that we took out when we launched Impact Hub back in 2013. And we're very interested in renegotiating the terms of the loan. There was a significant public benefit that Impact Hub provided to the residents of Salt Lake City and a number of organizations that operated out of Impact Hub during the pandemic. I'm told by the Economic Development Department that I need to approach the City Council to revise the loan terms, and so I don't know how to do that. And I don't know if I talked to my council member or the downtown representative where the business was located at the time, but I would love some guidance on how I might approach the council to maybe revisit that because the Economic Development Department is unable to.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll stick around till after the meeting.
I also don't know the answer to your question, but I'm sure staff can help.
Next.
Oh, go ahead, Taylor.
Next is Claudia Johnson, followed by, we'll hear from Claudia Johnson and then Amy Hawkins. Claudia's here in person.
Yes, she is here in person. First off, I want to make you a thank you for being patient with the community, the refugees that had gone here and talked with you, because it is scary for them to do this. And it's nice for them to have that experience to speak to people that are in charge. Now, because of my comment that way, I'll shut my other one down much faster. I want to charge you, each one of you, to drive on 8th East between 13th South and 17th South. It's like being in a dodgem. I don't know if you know what a dodgem is, where you're weaving in and out and stuff that way. You'd expect cars and stuff. There's islands and bump outs is what they call them, where all the way down the street. It doesn't save any traffic. It's hard on the people that are walking. It's hard on the bikers and who goes first and can I hit this person or can I hit this person? And can I beat him into this corner? And that's the same problem that I'm having on my street. We asked some time ago to slow down traffic on our street. We asked for speed bumps. The speed bumps we couldn't have. So we got bump outs. So now we have the speeding. It's like, how fast can I get to that turnout because that car's coming down and I got to get there first. So now we even have more traffic. And not only that, there's also one other thing. I want you to go down 11th East from 13th South again to 17th South. They have these awesome skateboard jumps and scooter jumps there that you just go down as a ramp and you can jump to the next one between the different street on and off ramps. But I wanted to let you personally look at that. And it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of my taxpayers' money. And I think we need to reallocate what's pretty and what's logical. Thank you.
Next is Amy Hawkins. Amy, you may now unmute.
Thank you very much. Hello, Salt Lake City Council members. I signed on tonight to comment about the process regarding a proposal that you voted on earlier tonight, the ordinance to rezone at approximately 1720 South and 1734 Southwest Temple. This was heard as a public hearing at your last meeting on Tuesday, November 7th, and therefore it appeared in your meeting materials packet. And I'm commenting tonight for two reasons. I was very surprised to not see the letter from the Ballpark Community Council about this project included in last week's meeting packet. And I was also surprised not to see any mention that the applicant formally presented their rezone proposal to the Ballpark Community Council at our monthly meeting on April 6, 2023. Planning staff were in attendance at our Ballpark Community Council meeting, and we noted this presentation in the letter that I read aloud to the Planning Commission at their July 26th meeting 2023. I was told in writing by a planner at the Planning Commission that our letter would be included in the Planning Commission's folder. And this is confusing because This is the opposite of the experience that the Sugar House Community Council and Judy Short had regarding a rezone proposal that you also just voted on. That also had a public hearing last Tuesday. This is just really disappointing. Why do we bother participating in the public process if it doesn't make it into the actual documentation? In fact, we did host a conversation with city planner Diane Martinez and the property owner meeting, and we had to attend in the future to see these documents and evidence of our public meetings included in a revised staff report. We also hope in the future to work with plans to see that this.
And that was the final registered commenter.
All right. Thank you everyone for your comments. That means we are on section E, which is new business, of which there is none. Section F of our agenda is unfinished business, which brings us to item F1, resolution about the certification of the downtown plan. I will look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt a resolution certifying the downtown plan's compliance with Utah code to have station area plans for each transit station.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilor Dugan, a second from Councilmember Valdemoros. Is there any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed say nay. Councilor Petra, are you still with us?
Yep, in the affirmative.
All right, that is 7-0 in the affirmative. That brings us to item F2, an ordinance regarding our open space lands amendments. I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt the ordinance amendments that will change processes for the disposition of certain interests in city open space lands and govern their removal from the official city open space inventory.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Puy, a second from Councilor Wharton. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. We are now on our consent agenda. Yes. I'll look for motion.
Move for approval.
Motion from Councilmember Wharton, second from Councilmember Puy. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Oh, and I'm an aye. That passes unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you for joining us today. And our next meeting is December 5th.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking about.